students of Ghana Christian International High School, and we urge you all to subscribe to His Gov TV. Thank you.
Hello there, you are welcome to His Gov TV. And before we begin with today's discussion, I would like to remind you to subscribe to the channel, should in case you have not done so. And if you have also subscribed, we thank you very much for your support. We are looking forward to adding more subjects to the channel. And so you will be seeing other channels, lessons also being uploaded very soon. And so you should embrace yourself for more content. Good. So today we are looking at the effect of the 1948 disturbances or rout. In our previous lesson, we looked at the causes, the remote causes, and the immediate causes of the 1948 rout or disturbances, which occurred on the 28th of February in 1948 in Accra, and then it was replicated in other parts of the country. And we saw that some of the causes of the rout were that of the shooting incident which occurred on the Osu-Labadi crossroad, where some ex-service officers or men were killed on their way to the Christianborg Castle to petition the then governor, Gerard Greasy, about their deteriorating conditions after the World War. And then we also saw other remote causes, such as the cutting down of the cocoa trees, the discrimination in the civil service, and all of that. And so, should in case you missed that lesson, please kindly, I'll put the link at the top right-hand side of at the end of this video, at the top right-hand side of this video, you can click on that and watch that lesson. I will also include the link in the description under this video, so that you can watch before you can be able to understand some of the things that we are going to talk about here. So we are looking at the effect of the rout, the looting, and then whatsoever. What were some of the effects of the rout of 1947? So our lesson objectives for today is quite simple. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to discuss the general factors of the general effect of the 1948 rout in the Gold Coast. So, what were some of the effects of the 1948 rout in the Gold Coast? And that should be our lesson objectives for today. Good. So let's begin with some of the effects. So we said in our earlier discussion, or in our earlier lesson, that one of the effects of the 1948 rout was that it led to the arrest and detention of some members of the UGCC. And these members later became known as the Big Six. So these members were J.B. Dankwa, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Akwaje, William Oforiatta, J.B. Dankwa, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Akufo-Addo, William Oforiatta, Akwaje, and then Obi Chebi-Lamte. Now, even though these leaders were not responsible for the rout that happened in 1948, however, they were arrested, mainly because, the UGCC was founded in 1947. That was 4th August 1947. And so the rout happening in 1948, and looking at the work that Nkrumah was also doing as the UGCC secretary, establishing branches all over the country, of course, gunning for the support of the common people, or of the masses, indicated that there was some kind of the British authorities felt that the UGCC members were behind the rout, and so these 6 of the members were arrested, and then they were put in various prisons in the northern part of the country. They were there for like 6 weeks before they were released. And so because of their arrest as a result of what had happened, Ghanaians and our sympathetic nature, They felt that these people were innocent. However, they were arrested for actions that they knew nothing about, and so they became known as the Big Six. And that is how come we came to have the word the Big Six and even have them on our currencies today. And so really, Big Six, when the whole question is asked, the Big Six, and it has been made to look as if that these were the only people that fought for independence for the country, but that is not so. That is not true, because some of the role of some of these individuals, I mean, we can't really come out with it. Me, for instance, I don't know, but probably I need to do more research on people like Accra Riots and co, and their role in the fight against in the fight for independence. But, I mean, of course, that is what it is. They became known as the Big Six because of the arrest, and it was because of the 1948 rout. Again, the 1948 rout also brought about the institution of the Western Commission of Inquiry. You also recall that we said that after the rout, the British officials set out inquiry, that's Commission of Inquiry, to look into the causes of the rout, because that had never happened before in the Gold Coast. They felt that the Gold Coast had always been a peaceful colony, unlike the Eastern African countries like Kenya and co. And so they set out an inquiry of commission to look, commission of inquiry to look into the reasons for for the 1948 rout. And the commission was headed by Mr. Andrew Aiken Watson. All right, and so the commission's name became known as the Watson Commission, and we saw the kind of work that the Watson Commission did in looking into or in probing into the causes of the 1948 rout, and they were the ones who actually came up with some of the remote causes that led to the rout. And so the commission was to investigate the causes of the rout and to make appropriate recommendations to avoid reoccurrence of such incidents in the Gold Coast. And if you could also recall, in our previous lesson, we said that the Watson Commission again made certain recommendations to the British colonial authorities, which they accepted, and some of them was to draft a new constitution for the Gold Coast. All right, because they felt that the 1946 constitution, the Alambans constitution, was outmoded at best. All right, and so yeah, that was one of the effects of the 1948 rout. Now, another effect was that it led to an increase, a sharp increase in political awareness. And so the rout led to a sharp increase in political awareness and outright demand for self-determination. And so you realize that the people or the Gold Coasters became fed up with the conditions that was happening right after the Second World War. And so you realize that in the looting and in the course of the rout, it brought about that kind of increased political awareness, whereby people now felt that they had to take things or matters into their hands. If not, they will not really enjoy the kind of or live the kind of life that they had wanted for themselves. And so the rout brought about a sharp increase in people's political awareness, and people now came to feel that they were part of the government, and so they should play a major role in there. And the last one was that it also erased the British complacency. Okay, the rout also erased the complacency of the British, who for a long time had believed that Gold Coast was a model colony whose people were comfortable to live under colonial rule. The rout therefore served as a loud wake-up call to the British authorities to quicken the independence process in the Gold Coast. So, like I indicated earlier, unlike the East African countries where there were wars between the local people, the Gold Coast was a very model one, very peaceful. I mean, since independence, since colonization from 1900, after they conquered the Asante Empire, there hadn't been any much agitation even in the Gold Coast. All right, and so they felt they were okay, but we are saying that the rout erased that kind of complacency. It made the British become aware of themselves that, hey, we should do something to quicken the independence struggle of these people. Good. So these were some of the effects of the 1948 rout. So in our next lesson, we shall look at the formation of the CPP, the Convention's People's Party, and still I'm continuing to look at how the country was able to achieve independence in 1957. So we shall meet on the other side, but for the meantime, subscribe to our channel, and also I recommend to your friends.
TV, first among equals. Bye.